a good 60% of all teams that I'm in lose at the character select screen. They pick characters and heroes that don't really make a lot of sense with what everybody else is doing. So today, I want to help spare you some of that pain by at least trying to get you on board with the rest of your team. I want to teach you how to build a team composition, how to build a comp that is successful, as well as helping you identify the team comps that are out there, so maybe you can see what it is that an enemy team is doing or what it is your team is doing, and you can lean into it in order to have a better time. This game is so much more fun when you're winning. It's just a fact of life. So let's try to win a little bit more, shall we? Let's start with the creation steps, and then I'll get onto the archetypes. There are 6 total, 3 main ones, and then 3 sort of special ones that are a little bit special to Marvel rivals, and I want to cover all of them. Of course, my goal with this video is to help you learn, so definitely let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and while you're there, maybe subscribe. Cool? All right, excellent. Let's start with just the very basic start, which is pick your hero. Just let your team know what it is you want to do, what hero you are good at, right? Because probably some characters, some players probably have characters that work well with you, right? Maybe somebody is playing Invisible Woman, you select the Punisher, they go, hey, I've got a good rocket, let's team up, right? You get the idea. This just lets everybody know. It's a way of communicating. Next up, number 2, see what your tanks are choosing. Tanks are a major portion, in my opinion, of how the composition is going to actually play out. Your supports are going to be focusing on them above everything else, and as a DPS player, I think it's our job to amplify the team comp chosen rather than having the team comp work around me. Asterisks, asterisks, grains of salt, because of course, there's going to be exceptions to these rules, especially if you're with a team that you know and you have some chemistry with and such. Cool? Number 3, fill based on what's needed. This is the moment when everyone's kind of picked their heroes and we realize there's no strategist. This is your opportunity to go, all right, I'll play one of the strategists, even if it's not the necessary strategist, even if it's not a strategist that your team might need. Maybe you're not playing a lifeline, which if you want to know more about that, go watch our support video about that. But maybe it's not one of the main healers, but it just lets the rest of the team know, hey, I can fill this role. I can try to make this work for you, right? It's a sign of good faith, as well as, of course, helping your team get the job done, because you're probably gonna need at least one of those. Maybe you're missing a DPS. That never happens. You get the idea. All right, number 4, swap as weaknesses are found. Whether that's on your team or on the enemy team, play around what the skill sets are before you. If core components of each role on your team still aren't being fulfilled after a little bit of gameplay, double or even triple up on those roles if you think you can compensate for them better, and try to communicate this change to your team. Rivals is built in such a way that most of the roles have a sort of middle of the pack role. For example, Mantis is basically a DPS, but she's categorized as a strategist, so you can play Mantis if you previously were a DPS in order to let your team know, hey, we ain't healing, folks. I need more healing, so I'm gonna do my job or your job for you, but I'm not gonna be a jerk about it. Now let's talk about those categories. There are 3 of the main categories. I've got this broken up into the core components, which is the tanks and the DPSs. I'm assuming that everyone has at least 80% lifeline, which again, please go watch the strategist video for that. But I'm also going to talk about the flexes, which are going to be tanks and supports. For the first type, this is a Brawl composition. This is a very easy comp to build, as it uses Brawl tanks and Brawl DPSs. It's just close range characters. They go together. They work well. Do the same thing together, and the thing that gets done will be done even better. Many hands make light work. For the flex slots for your tanks, try dive tanks. Anchor tanks also kind of work here too, but dive is more commonly what you'll see. And for your supports, you're just going to double down on lifeline. This is one of the few areas I think it's not worth trying to diversify your supports. It's better to just simply really hammer down having a lot of healing, because this composition above all other compositions is going to take a lot of punishment, okay? Let's talk about their stats. This Brawl, unfortunately, is not the most exciting, as its offense is medium, its defense is medium, its staying power is medium, and you guessed right, its mobility is also medium. This is the most well-rounded composition, as it doesn't really have anything that it's really bad at, except for the fact that it has no range. That's the only real thing it struggles with, but it's pretty good at about everything else. And now I want to talk about some suggested heroes, some heroes that you can pick up that will give you an idea of how to play this comp, and I'm also trying to build some synergies into these 3 suggested picks, okay? All right, suggestion number 1 for your tanks, the Thing. He's the Brawl tank. It doesn't get more Brawl tank than the Thing. For your DPS, Mr. Fantastic. He's the Brawl DPS. It doesn't get more Brawl DPS than Mr. Fantastic. And for your supports, you guessed it, it's Invisible Woman. And with this, you've got the Fantastic Three's synergy. You get an extra bit of survivability and damage resistance and so on and so forth. This is a great composition that can help you understand what it is the Brawl comp is going for. As some basic tips and some basic philosophy to make the Brawl comp work for you, think of the Brawl comp like the tides of a waves. We're getting really philosophical here, but the Brawl comp wants to push in, sweep things out of their position, eliminate anything that it can pin down, and then pull back into their supports. It's this give and take. It's like a currency. You're spending your health in order to take up space, and then you're pulling back in order to keep this equilibrium going. Makes sense? Cool. This composition does a great job of countering Dive, whose core components are dive tanks, flanker style DPSs, and for its flex, you've got Brawl tanks. Sometimes you'll see some like anchor tanks in here too, as again, those are very, very common to see. Those are really good, solid tanks to build around. And for your supports, you're gonna see a lot of playmakers in here. Of course, we're assuming, again, that you have lifelines, but playmakers are pretty good here as they can actually keep up with the other high mobility heroes that your team is going to have, and they can also help with the damage a little bit. Playmakers are great at doing that. For their offense, it's very high, their defense is very low, their staying power similarly is also low, and their mobility is high. This is a highly aggressive, gas pedal forward type of comp. This is a composition that kind of struggles on the defense, but it does its job by simply just wiping everything out. It doesn't matter what defense it is if everyone's dead. And for the suggested picks, I recommend Venom, Spider-Man, and Jeff. Venom and Jeff are actually getting a team up in the future. Again, we've done a separate video on that. That's really cool. I'm really happy to see that. But of course, the classic Venom Spider-Man combo is a great way to go about this. This will definitely get you a vibe for how to play this dive composition. Dive comp really has to have good game sense because it's very easy to get yourself in a situation where you're constantly 5v6. One suggestion I have for just playing this composition better as a group, if maybe it's your first time, is to try to have 1 point something your value as a hero, as a player. So even if it's 1.1, just you're constantly trading positively, but you get a little bit extra. So maybe it can help by picking somebody on the enemy team and just making their life miserable. And then that 10% of time that they're on the respawn screen, you're going off and doing other stuff. It can really, really be helpful because if everybody on your team is 1.1, that means everyone on the enemy team is 0.9. You have an advantage. You're going to win that fight. Make sense? This composition, the dive comp, counters the poke comp. The poke comp is made up of anchor tanks or shield tanks, and DPSs are typically pokes or sustains, so range style DPSs. For the flex slots, you're going to see bunkers in here, bunker tanks, and for your supports, you're going to see utilities who also have lots and lots of range. The whole point of this composition is basically the exact opposite of Brawl. Its offense overall is actually kind of low because of this, though. Obviously, it can keep stuff at a distance, and its defensive is very high, and its staying power is also very high, but its mobility is low. This is, like I said, the exact opposite of the Brawl comp with just a different trade up in stats. For suggested practice, this one is one of the only ones that don't have a direct synergy built into it, but I think a few of you are going to figure out what it is I'm going for here. For your tank, try Magneto. For your DPS, try Black Widow, even though I know she's bad. I know this is just for practice, calm down. And for your supports, try Mantis. Mantis, when she gives the damage boost to Black Widow or Magneto, opens up new damage opportunities for them that previously wouldn't have existed. For example, Magneto can now consistently 3-tap squishy targets, and Black Widow can guarantee a headshot on the 250-ish health targets as well. It really opens up a lot for her, and Mantis is, in my opinion, one of the best heroes in the game. That might be a future video. This composition counters Brawl, and we've come full circle. But I believe there's more comps than just these. I believe that Marvel Rivals, because of its lack of role queue, as well as a lot of flexibility within each hero, offers us some compositions that are pretty unique and pretty common even still. So starting off, let's start with a different composition, a different orientation of a Brawl comp, and that is the Bunker or the Bruiser Comp. This composition is a 2-1-3, so 2 tanks, 1 DPS, 3 supports, that is built up of bunker tanks and sustain style DPS. You need something with a lot of damage, of which the sustain is typically going to be able to do for you. For your flex slot, you're going to have Brawl tanks, and for your flex supports, you're going to see typically more utilities or more lifelines, but oftentimes than not, utilities. For your suggested practice, try Penny Parker, and then I have here Moon Knight and Cloak and Dagger just because my OCD doesn't want me to say Mantis again, but realistically, yeah, Mantis again, she's very good at it. Or you could also try Loki, it's another great choice in here. But yeah, you want something from the support category that actually is more focused on the damage side of things, in which case you'll see how this comp really shines. It's a composition that's very hard to remove from points, but it still has a little bit of range. It basically trades out some of the weaknesses of the Brawl Comp for a little bit more range, but a little bit less on its offense, if that makes sense. Next is what I lovingly call the Quick Play Comp, or more academically, this is the Rushdown Comp. This is a 1-3-2, 1 tank, 3 DPS, and 2 supports. Sometimes you might also see this as a 2-3-1, but the idea here is that you're really damage forward. For your tanks, you're going to see Brawl. For your DPSs, you're going to see pokes or sustains, and you're also in the flex slot going to see flanks. And for your supports, you're going to see, again, more utilities. You're going to see a lot of damage come out of this team. This is very a glass cannon build, right? This is a build that if it's executed flawlessly, it can work, but that's really hard to do. And the last composition is another comp that is very commonly built, and this is what I call the Control Comp. This is another 2-2-2, but it does things that are a little bit different. This comp tries to spread out itself so that it can cover as many weaknesses as it can, but that also makes it kind of susceptible to just having an enemy team that's just better at doing one specific thing and it losing to that. Because it lacks any weaknesses, it really puts the screws down on individual players performing at their absolute best. But I digress. Its core components are an anchor tank and a sustainer style DPS. For its flex, you're going to see Brawl tanks in here. For supports, you're going to see playmakers. The idea here is, like I said, you just want to cover as many of things as you possibly can. And a great example of this for suggested practice is Doctor Strange as your tank, the Punisher for your DPS, and Rocket for your support. Rocket's fantastic right now, has a team up with the Punisher, and Doctor Strange and the Punisher have kind of a hidden synergy that I really love. I'm going to be putting out a short about that, but the short version of it is that Doctor Strange's portal and the Punisher's turret makes the Punisher into an AC 130. It's hilarious and it's extremely effective. So those are the compositions. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and do me a favor and share this with a group of friends so that all of you can be on the same page. The more people that understand what compositions are out there, the more likely it is that you're gonna have more success. But that's all I have for you today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bless your faces, and deuces.